Hello, I'm Connie Wolford, and I'm going to fix you a really easy, real easy, beef stew. And I'm going to use some Thrive meat and vegetables here. I'll show you what I have in this container. I put this in here actually a couple of weeks ago and hadn't used it yet, but it has everything I need to make a beef stew. It contains beef. These are all Thrive Life freeze-dried foods. This is the roast beef. It's already cooked and freeze-dried. Peas, green beans, zucchini, sliced onions, and mushrooms. And you know what I don't have here is the spinach, but I do have spinach in here as well, freeze-dried spinach. And I have all those things in this plastic sealed airtight container. And like I said, it's been in here for a couple of weeks. And tonight for dinner, we're going to have this beef stew, my husband and I. And I have already begun to warm it's actually boiling, some water in a saucepan. And I'm going to go ahead and put the meat in there. I'm going to put the meat in first because it's chunky and it takes a few minutes for it to refresh and get nice and soft. It's already cooked and it's freeze-dried. It has no preservatives or anything that you wouldn't want. There's no MSG. There's no nothing. It just has, let me see here. I don't have my glasses on. Ingredients: beef and salt. It has a little bit of salt for seasoning. But if you're cutting back on salt, trust me, there's very little salt. I will need to add more for us. Now to that, it has already begun to boil. I'm going to just put in the rest of my ingredients. I have a little packet here. I'm going to put in the rest of my ingredients. The vegetables. And I'm going to add more water. As I said, this is freeze-dried, so it is dried and it needs to absorb quite a bit more water. So I'm going to put that in and stir that around a little bit and let those vegetables and beef soak up some water. Now these vegetables, the green beans, the peas, the onions, the spinach, the mushrooms, in these containers that I purchased them in through Thrive Life, it has nothing in there except green beans. This is the green beans. And if you can read that, it says green beans as its ingredient list. And it also on the container gives all of the nutritional value of the green beans that are contained in this container. I'm going to add to that a packet of beef bullion seasoning, just for flavor and because it's beefy. Now, Thrive Life does have its own beef bouillon. I just don't happen to have any on hand right now. So if we were in a pinch and let's say we couldn't go to the grocery store for a few weeks or months, we would have all the ingredients we would need to make a delicious and very healthy beef stew. Now, I'm going to let that simmer. I'm just continuing to add water because all those vegetables need to absorb. You know, they will soak up water, and It looks more like beef and vegetable soup right now, which it can be that if you like for it to be soup. Now, to that, I'm going to add a can of diced tomatoes just because I like that. And I have some tomatoes on hand that I need to use. We do have diced tomatoes in our Thrive Life in food list, but because I had these on hand, and even though Thrive Life has a 25-year shelf life, these tomatoes do not. And I've had them for a few months. And I like for my beef stew or beef soup, vegetable soup, to be a bit tomatoey. Now, if you would like, you can also just add tomato sauce and include that in here. And then to this, I'm going to also add some beans. We like beans in our stews and soups, so I'm going to add, I drained a can of small white beans. They'll add some more protein and some more fiber to our beef stew. Now as I said, the beef has a little bit of salt in it. And the bouillon has beef flavoring. But I'm going to also add an herb mixture here. This is from Thrive Life. It also has a 25-year shelf life. And I'm just going to add that just for some additional flavor. It has a blend of herbs. I'm going to add a little additional garlic. This is not from Thrive Life, even though we have it. I just don't happen to have any on hand at the moment. Some garlic powder in there. And I'm going to add some more salt and some pepper. That herb seasoning blend has some pepper, but I'm going to add some more. You know, most herbs and seasonings, herbs and spices are very healthy. And pepper is very healthy. I read a few years ago that pepper, I'm very interested in nutrition. I've done a lot of reading. I used to teach it when I was a school teacher. And pepper, I have read, helps to lower blood pressure. That's pretty cool. Now, this is done. I could let the flavors blend a little bit more, and that'll help. But basically, this is done. And we have here some beef stew, or you might even call it beef and vegetable soup if you add more liquid. My husband's going to like that. And I'm going to too. Thank you for tuning in. Please take a look at my website. I have the link at the bottom of this video. Thank you very much. It's in the description. God bless you. Good evening.